Hey, we got something sharp and something sinister, but pretty easy to play. Stick around. Hi, folks. Old Man Grognard here for another review of another role-playing game. This one's called Sharp Swords and Sinister Spells. This is by Diogo Nogueira. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's published through his publishing company, Old Skull Publishing. And from what I know, this is the first role-playing game from Brazil, but it's in English. It's published 2016, and it's about 50 pages. And here's what it looks like in print. It's not very big. It's a digest size, but it's a very good. It's not really an old school retro clone game, but it has an old school feel. It borrows from several different role-playing games, but it has its own flavor and its own twist. I'd say it leans more towards swords and sorcery things. It has a bit of a bleak view, but it doesn't really say so. So you can play it with any genre, but it's easy to figure out. It's easy to read and go, okay, I can do this, and run a game. It uses all the standard dice you have. There are 4 attributes for the characters: physique, agility, intelligence, and willpower. The main core mechanic is the attribute test, which is a d20 at or under the attribute of the character. Now, what's interesting is if the game master wants to do anything against the character, and I'm not talking about combat here, okay, they have to go against whatever attribute the character has, or they have to roll equal or above. So it's kind of harder for them. And you get modifiers to that, of course, plus or minus, I think, up to 10. They do have a nice little twist on the advantage-disadvantage rule from 5th edition. They have positive, negative dice. What you do is you roll 2d6. If you're doing if the game master says you need a positive, you roll 2d6, and the player picks which one he wants. If he says you're rolling at negative dice, you roll 2d6, and the game master picks out which one you take. Interesting. They have a usage die for things that you use up, like food and ammo, things like that. Every character has a luck roll, which is it's for every class. Every class has its own die of luck roll. But what you could do if you roll your luck, if you roll a 1 or a 2, you're running out of luck. And it may or may not work with the GM's discretion. But if you describe what you're doing in detail, if you're doing something special, basically talking the DM into another role, and if you make it, the DM has the option, or the game master has the option of, if you miss it, you're making it worse, or something else happening down the road. But there's other things that do that too. They also use like a dice chain mechanic, which is a d20 to a d4, because you can upgrade and downgrade certain rolls. Like if you can push what they call push a roll. If you miss a physique roll climbing a cliff, okay, I want to push the roll, so you get to roll again. But if you miss, it's worse. You can also downgrade the roll from another type of die. You can do that with luck too. To either you can downgrade the luck roll to either re-roll it or automatically make the luck roll and something good happens. And what happens is when you downgrade a die on something, it stays that way until the next, they say the next adventure, I'd say the next session. So you have a D8, especially they had a D8 luck roll, and you want to downgrade it to D6. Okay, fine. It's going to be a D6 for the rest of the adventure, or the rest of the session. Fine. They only have 3 classes, no clerics. So they have fighter, specialist, which is what they call a thief, and a magic user. 3 of them, right there. Magic. Okay, magic I thought was interesting. You got your standard spells, and what happens is you have to make a willpower check to throw a spell. No problem, right? Okay. Um, if you blow it, you lose the spell. Or you have the option of keeping the spell. Once you throw it, you have the option of keeping the spell. Now, if you keep the spell, this is another one of those areas where the game master gets pretty much free reign on you. In the right, it doesn't have to happen right then. You know, you can either have like a magical backfire or something. You can say, oh yeah, something, you know, you get turned around, or it does the opposite effect or whatever. But he can also like hold that in reserve for later, if you know what I mean. It just basically gives GM's hooks for doing stuff to people. Here's what the book looks like. That's a fighter class right there. And you get so many hit points. I think they give you your hit die. And as usual, I'd probably give you max hit points at first level. Here's some of the, I believe those are the weapons. They get, you know, general weapons, 3 category of weapons that they're fall into. They do so much. They do so much. They do a damage die, like small, medium, large, D4, D6, or D8. And they have big, broad categories for that. Armor is interesting. And I'm glancing through the book right now. Now, armor, if you have light armor, it's all damage reduction that you take, because you're taking off your hit points as usual. So, like light armor would do, you take one hit point off. Medium armor, you take a D, I believe, one die. And heavy armor, you take 2 die, depending on what the armor is, and I believe it's depend on your class. Fighters can get more out of things. They can do weapon specialization. Each class has their own special thing or things they can do special abilities. Anyway, here's some of the spells. And like I said, the spells. What I don't understand about the spells is. I get, you know, they say you have 1 spell at first level, 2 spells at second level, etc., 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 but they don't really rank them in level. So I assume you can just take, like, second level, you know, take 2 of any spell. I don't know. Monsters are rated by hit dice, and that's about it. They base that on everything. It's kind of like Tunnels and Trolls monster rating. They base that on everything. And here's the... Yes, you also have a chance of taking, like, a disadvantage like that. And it helps give you a few points. It'll help you bring up a luck roll if you downgrade it or something, or some other roll. And other benefits like that. Here's the character sheet. I love the character sheet. That's a beautiful character sheet right there. And like I said, this game is really good for pick up and play. And if you just don't want to bother, you know, with all the, you know, haul out the DMG and all that stuff, just grab this. You know, grab this and go. And it's reasonably priced. In fact, it's free. It's not really free, but on Drive-Thru RPG and RPG Now, pay what you want. Lulu, you can get a print copy here for $9.99. This is $9.99, and I believe there's always sales going on in Lulu, so keep your eye out for it. And what I try to downplay. I did an After Dark on this about bleak settings, and this has got a little bit of bleak, like healing. There is little to no healing unless you rest. Okay, I can deal without the clerics, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm sure there will be holy men and other temples in places they visit that can heal them. And it's a short, long rest thing. A short rest, I think you get a couple of hit points back, and long rest you get one hit die worth of hit points back. But I would have healing potions available. That's me, because I don't, I don't like this deck that get decked too much against the players. But like I said, and interesting about the monsters, you don't find your regular monsters in here. You don't find your orcs or goblins, but they give you a nice little chart so you can figure out how much hit dice they do, depending on how big and bad they are. So that's a handy. And it also gives you a nice adventure generator in here, which is always handy. I can use that for any game. I like that. But anyway, like I said, sharp swords and sinister spells, it's worth a buy, worth a look, worth a play. And check it out and tell me about it or anything else at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next time, bye-bye.